Hi everybody, and welcome back to this second series of Headstrong, a podcast where I sit down with a variety of individuals in the public eye to talk to them about their lives and everything that they've experienced. This second series is a Rugby World Cup special, so I am sitting down exclusively with rugby players, both past and present, to talk to them about their experiences in the world of rugby and around it. I've also partnered up with Restart Rugby, the official charity of the RPA, so we're trying to help raise money for them. On this week's episode of Headstrong, I travelled up to Gloucester to go and speak to ex-England rugby player, but now Gloucester rugby player and former Bath player, Matt Banahan. I sat down with Matt to talk to him about the difficulties he faced having played 12 years at Bath Rugby Club and transitioning over to Gloucester, one of their biggest rivals. So I really hope you enjoy this episode of Headstrong. Matt, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me on this episode of Headstrong. I imagine that the season, you're fully prepared now down here at Gloucester for 2019-20, in fact. How's it all going here?
Yeah, it's going well. It's obviously been a pretty long pre-season. Even out of all the pre-seasons I've been involved in, it's probably one of the tougher ones just because of the length of it. An extra 4 or 5 weeks of training, just more load on the body, and then knowing that you've got, so now we're into the season, it's 11 games back to back before any sign of a little break.
Well, I just caught kind of some of the end of training there. Everyone seems to be looking in pretty good shape. Also, well, before this, once this episode comes out, fortunately the first match will have happened, but I see that quite a lot of crossfield kicks going on in training.
I think that's just where we've seen just practicing.
A lot going on in the World Cup, actually.
Yeah, it's just where the space, obviously defences want to be more aggressive, so that leaves some space behind, and it's just a skill where you've got to practice it to get better at. Obviously we looked quite happy today, obviously first Prem week going into it, and plus it's probably the first time it hasn't rained in 2 weeks. The boys are a little bit more not drenched out of all the enthusiasm, but boys were quite happy to be out on the pitch working a bit harder afterwards as well.
It's been a year now since you made that move from Bath to Gloucester. You spent 12 years at Bath, and that's kind of all that you've ever known. After you've done your one season here at Gloucester, do you feel now completely settled in and you're completely used to that change?
Yeah, to be honest, I felt quite settled in probably after we played Bath last year.
Yeah,
it was probably the toughest game in my career. I didn't think it would be hard, but come from the point of changing in different side of the changing rooms, warming up at a different end of the pitch. They're quite big factors. Playing a game, in the end, you've done a pre-season, you played pre-season games, you know what team you're playing for. You're not going to make the same mistake, run into the other team with the wrong shirt on. But knowing all the supporters there, because I've been there for so long, was the hard bit. But like I said, you just want to keep moving forward and not look back. I had 12 great years at Bath, and yeah, it didn't end perfectly, but obviously you can't. I said I finished playing. It felt like I was just playing for my local club. I enjoyed it so much at Bath. Like I'd turn up, I'd play. It felt like I wasn't even sort of being professional because I'd been there for so long. And I got to that point of where I had my hand forced, and I felt like a move to a club like Gloucester would have been good for me. And looking at last year, and I think 24 games I played in, and I can't ever. That was a brilliant start to a season at a new club. Mm-hmm. Playing obviously multiple positions and doing what I did. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and looking back, I wouldn't have changed the move for anything. I can say I gave 12 great years to Bath, and I've had one amazing year so far at Gloucester, and I'm hoping to follow up with a couple more.
Just looking back at that first match back at Bath, obviously you mentioned there that it was so different because of your long period at Bath. But what were those emotions when you first stepped into the away dressing room compared to your home dressing room that you'd been so used to? What were you feeling at that time?
It was quite humorous. I was just laughing to myself because when you used to train down at the Rec as an academy player or a young player, the senior boys used to go in the home change room, and if you were a youngster, you used to get changed in the away change room, and it sort of had that sort of flashback memory of having to work hard and earn your place in the main change room. But got in there, warmed up, and went down the far end, and all of the season ticket holders that you recognise from the previous years are still in the same place, and you're having a little bit of a laugh, and all you want to do is still perform well, and that's the biggest stress, is that the previous year, the second from last game was Bath versus Gloucester at Kingsholm, and we won that playing for Bath. And at the same time, that was stressful because I wanted to show Gloucester what they were getting, and obviously showing Bath what they were losing. So to perform well in that, and you flip it on the head the following season, it's at the Rec for Kingsholm, and I wanted to play well again and show Bath what they'd lost and Gloucester what they're getting for the season. And
did that add, was that added pressure that you didn't really necessarily want? Because obviously making your first appearance for your new club, first game, is enough pressure probably anyway, but for it to be against your club that you know and have breathed for 12 years. There's pressure. It's one of those tough, because obviously I still live in Bath. I still see the Bath fans, the Bath locals, that they're still very supportive of me, and it's great. But it's that pressure that you put on yourself as a professional athlete to perform well, whatever colour, whoever you're playing for. If somebody else moved another club, you want them to perform well to their ability, and I never want my levels to drop, whoever I'm playing for. If I ever get lucky enough to wear a different shirt, or if it won't be England, but if it was England, or if it was Barbarians, or if it was some selective team that you want to show them what you have the ability to do in that shirt, you never want your levels to drop. And it's an easy excuse for, if I perform poorly in that game against Bath, that Bath would have said, oh, that's why we let him go. And I didn't want people to say that, because it's such a cop-out. So that's the pressure I put on myself to perform, is that I want people to go, we shouldn't have let him go. He could have done that here. And then that keeps maintaining your standards to improve and play well each week. For anyone listening, by the way, we are at the Hartpury training facility where Gloucester boys train, and conveniently they have just started, I don't know what they're really doing out there, mowing or blowing something out there on the pitch, and that's probably what you can hear, guys.
Blowing the cut grass off the pitch.
Yeah, so sorry about that interruption, but don't worry about it. So huge congratulations to you and the team on last season. You didn't win the Premiership, but boy, did you guys show that you're real contenders, and you're stepping into 1920 as, a serious team to face. What is it about Gloucester that you guys bring such a fight to your play of rugby? What is it about the team and the management and all the players that brings that fight?
For me, I just think that the club is run well from the very top, from Martin. He's put people in position to do a job, and there's no sort of cross jobs going on, people getting involved in everybody else's, and that when that comes down to the coaching staff, that they can get on with their job. And as David Humphries, as director of rugby, puts the squad in place that Johan wants, Johan puts his coaches in place, and they coach their way, and then it's a clear plan of how boys want to play, and how we want to execute a game style, and from that we want to be able to a team that can play from everywhere and score from everywhere. And if you look at some of the tries we scored last year, if they were on the opposition's try line, we scored some great tries. If we were on our own try line, we scored a few from there. And by doing that, you make it harder for teams to analyse you and perform well against you. So we give ourselves the best opportunity to win games. And like you said, we were unfortunate. We lost the semi-final, but we had first time in 8 years reaching a semi-final. I think beating Northampton away for the first time in X amount of years, beating other teams, other places. We're the only team to beat Saracens and Exeter in the same season, and these are small things that breed confidence and breed. Obviously, that was last year. You have to draw a line in the sand.
But you can build on that momentum and positivity, though. There's no doubt that Gloucester's season this year is going to be, hopefully, they're going to be aspiring for higher and higher.
Exactly. We're definitely going to be aspiring, but it's that point of, with the length of the off-season, momentum's quite hard to carry through that. You have to start again. The positivity will be there because we believe in what we do. But like you said, there's a lot of other good teams, and we have to go in each game. We'll play going against the first Prem game this week against Sale, who have brought very well, but like you said, will they perform straight away? And the challenge for us is, like you said, when a good player comes into the season and plays well, that's second season syndrome. People know what's going to come. You've got to stay one step ahead of the game and improve. We can't
improve every area of the game as well.
And we can't sit back and, like you said, you watch training today. We're doing stuff we hadn't done last season, but you've got to practice it. But at the same time, you've got to do what you did last year even better than you did, as well as laying on new detail, and that's what we're trying to do and aspiring to do going into the season.
Definitely. So I know you're a huge family man as well. How did they find that transition from you moving from Bath to Gloucester? Because I know that maybe some of their loyalties in terms of support certainly stayed the same, but how did they find that
It's my wife is a Bath girl, so she supports Bath. She played for Bath. She played for England Ladies. She played for England Touch. And her dad was chairman of Bath before it turned professional, and then stepped off. He's been a box holder down at Bath since the boxes were built down at the end. So they are a Bath through and through. But same time, when it was all happening and I was explaining what was going on, what was said to me, they supported me for everything. And that was the nicest thing, is when people support you, that it gives you that confidence that you're doing the right thing. With my children, my 2 daughters absolutely couldn't give a monkey about sport. They just want their cuddly dolls and the stuff like that. But my son is very alert, very astute. I tell him that in theory he will be a Bath fan because he's from Bath, but he can support his dad who plays for Gloucester. So he's got both shirts. At the same time, he's a big football fan. Like myself, we support Liverpool. So I try and teach him the aspects of professional sport, that people do move teams. So he loved when Danny Ings was at Liverpool. When Danny Ings moved, I said, you can still support him at Southampton. You can still be a Danny Ings fan. You support your local team, the team you support, but you can still support people. And I think by that behaviour, it will take away the I don't know how the aggressive side of sport, where people believe people are traitors. People are trying to make a living. People are trying to do what's best for them.
Sometimes it's not just a matter of support, and it's a professional decision for their livelihoods.
Exactly,
it's a job.
Yeah, exactly, it's a job. That's the very first thing I ever got taught when I was at London Irish Academy by Corin Palmer, and he was like, "You're going in there. Loyalty is there, but at the end, rugby is a job. People aren't just going to keep you at the club just because they think you're a good guy. I want you. It's a business." And the business side is the side that can get ugly.
I'm just going to pull this.
It's fine. And you have to work on it yourself. And that's what I try and teach my son, is that people do move teams, but you can still support one and support somebody else. And I think the perfect thing is, with his love for football, that he does see people move, and as well as seeing me move, and that he loves sport, and it's the best thing about it at the moment, that he just enjoys it.
Yeah, definitely. I've also heard you previously say that if you were to choose 3 guests at a dinner party, 2 of those people would be your family members, being your father and your grandfather when they were younger people. Why is it for you that family is so important? What is it that makes that them, a lot of your decisions come down to for your family's sake? Why is it so important to you?
Just because the way I am is how they brought me up. People will come, say, 18 years old plus, and you'll look at people in the limelight, and they could affect how you think of things or how you believe in things, because they don't preach, but that's their beliefs of what they do, and they have a stronger platform to promote it. But from 18 years below, you are with your parents. They are the people who mould you into the way you are. And like I said, I had such a great family upbringing in Jersey. Obviously, it's a very small island. I was lucky to get off it, but I just think that I'd love to see my father, my grandfather, when they were younger, just to see the way what moulded them to be such great people. To me, like I said, I read stuff now on people, but how I've brought up is how I then judge other people. So like I said, with people moving teams, my dad would have taught me that, but it's ingrained into me now. It's the same about drinking or doing this enough. Like during the season, I'll very rarely drink. I probably won't even touch any alcohol because I don't believe I'll play till I'm 35, 36, and then if I finish playing, I'll have got 40 years to drink as much as I want. But I want to give this time the best time as I got, and that bred into me the behaviour and habits from my parents and from my family. And I believe that a lot of people aren't successful in sport, or are successful in sport, because of their family. And you look at a lot of people, the first people they'll always thank is their parents. They're not going to thank Joe Bloggs, who wrote something on the internet with a quote 2 years prior. It's going to be the family and what they've done to help them get to the thing. I saw the other day about Trent Alexander-Arnold, that he thanked his brothers because the sacrifices that they gave to let him keep his footballing dream. And they're small things, but they go a long way.
Yeah, definitely. Look,
Ben Morgan walking around outside
is he trying to get into this door here? This is going to be rather interesting.
I'm not even going to open it.
So, for those who don't know, Ben is going to be doing a podcast with us. And this is fun. I'm going to go get him.
The raging bull is at the door, shaking it. He's losing his temper greatly. Oh, the door. Oh, close the door. The blowers are too strong, please.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Quality. You sent me on a bit of a goose chase as well.
I did not send you a goose chase.
So you keep the pictures on your right.
Yeah.
And then you turn right.
No, turn left. I said.
Right? It says turn right.
Okay, let's double check.
Yeah.
Message to Ben Morgan. Ben Morgan.
Got a bit of a domestic here, guys.
Oh, turn right into the first half.
Yeah.
Message. Yeah, sorry.
So off I went up, turning right, turning right. No, I didn't.
Oh, that'd have been world class if you went round. That would have sent you round the AstroTurf pitch in a circle.
Right up to the top to Hartbury House.
Yeah, I was wondering why you're 5 minutes late, actually.
That's it. Thank you, Banahan.
You're next.
Am I?
Yeah.
Ben, I reckon we've got 10-15 minutes left.
Okay.
So you can sit in here if you want and laugh at Matt if you want, or go chill out and do whatever. It's up to you.
Alright, I'll make myself scarce and leave Matt to it.
Matt waffling.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Hi everybody, sorry to interrupt the podcast, just a quick word from our two sponsors. Headstrong is very fortunate to have found two amazing sponsors and supporters for Season 2 of Headstrong, the Rugby World Cup special, forming a brilliant partnership between Headstrong, our chosen charity Restart Rugby, and themselves. They cover between them all aspects of global insurance and both have strong historical ties to the wider rugby and well-being communities. Ascot Group is a Bermuda-domiciled global specialist in insurance and reinsurance. Built on a foundation of underwriting expertise, but with a culture of collaboration, dedication, empowerment and accountability that is the fabric of the company. Their integrity is reinforced by a strong track record and dedication to clients, brokers and partners. For more information on Ascot Group, visit www.ascotgroup.com. BMS are an entrepreneurial, agile, specialist insurance and reinsurance broker that prides itself on their reputation for exceptional client service and position as one of the leading global brokers. For more information on BMS, visit www.bmsgroup.com. Now, back to the podcast. Sorry for the interruption, guys. So you also have talked about how, I've read it myself as well from your own social media presence as well. You've got a great sense of humour. Is that also instilled from your family?
I just believe that I don't want to grow up yet. Like I said, same thought process that I can grow up when I'm older. I'm only 32. I could still live till I'm 90. I'm not even halfway over my age that I could get to. So I still want to enjoy myself. Like I said, I'm jumping out on the family members, my wife, her sisters, her dads. But it's non-offensive, doesn't cost any money. I get a lot of people from the military send me messages saying I struggle with PTSD. I really enjoy watching these. They make me laugh a lot. And like I said, my family hate me for it, but I'm bringing amusement to a lot more than them.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just limited to them.
Exactly. And like I said, I like bringing humour to myself. If it's a picture of me playing rugby, I'll always have some sort of sarcastic quote underneath it, because I find it's easier to drag yourself down because it stops others from doing it. Because always people are looking for that one chink in your armour, and I'll take away all the armour and I'll shoot myself with it rather than let somebody else do it. And I find it's a far easier way to laugh at yourself and keep moving forward.
Yeah, totally. So just going back to your rugby career, as a child you didn't really have much rugby experience until you were about 16.
Yeah.
Am I right? And in Jersey, what was that rugby scene like? It's a small island for those who don't know, and it's quite, I want to say, isolated, maybe to the exposure of further
UK,
afield. I'm presuming you didn't really have that much of a rugby setup then there.
No, well, to be honest, the Jersey Rugby Club is fantastic. It always has been for the youth setup, but I got brought up playing hockey and cricket, my two sport. My dad played county and international hockey, and so hockey and cricket went well summer and winter. The crossover of them was brilliant, and the only exposure I got for rugby is obviously you have to play at school. And then I played West of England hockey under 17s, and I didn't make the national team. And I'd obviously you want to be like your parents and dedicated a lot of time to hockey. And I said, Dad, I'm going to play rugby with my mates. And I was 16, and It was like just before Christmas, and I turned up. I did one training session. Then said, there's an under-18s game if you want to play. So I went out and played that, played well, and then the first team said, when do you 17? I said, I'm December 30th. And then, we got a first team match on, I think it was January 2nd against London Irish Amateurs.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I could play because I'd been 17. So I ended up playing that, and then from that I then got selected to play Hampshire at the end of the year, and 6 months later I got offered a professional contract. And then from my first game against London Irish Amateurs, it was 4 years and 4 months from that game to my international debut, England-Argentina, Old Trafford. And it wasn't even a whirlwind, it was just a wave. Just had to learn so quickly. So I'd played one game of age group rugby. Everything else was adult rugby.
Wow.
At 17, I went straight from adult, playing for Jersey, to then Hampshire, to then moving to London Irish, playing England Sevens, Saxons. It went so fast, and I'm still enjoying that wave now. I'm not playing to the international level I had done, but I'm still able to play professional rugby week in, week out, and that's the wave I'm still enjoying.
Yeah, definitely. As you said there, you followed in your father's footsteps, playing hockey to a high level till the age of 16. But you weren't picked for the England under-17s in that year. Was that an important thing in making you maybe choose or transition? Did you always want to play sport as a profession? So was that quite an important decision at that time, saying, I've got to make a new choice now to progress?
It was just I still love sport now. My son, my daughters, I get them playing multiple sports. I think it's a massive part of life that you have to be able to play all sports and have versatility, and through that I think it shows him how I can play rugby. I can play multiple positions, even though they can have different attributes of skill that are needed. I'm able to play all of them, and like I said, did it change me? Did it thing? I don't know is the honest answer. I just did it because I believe that was the best thing for me. My dad supported me, my mum supported me, my brother supported me. It's such a hard thing to say, I wanted to be a professional sportsman. At 16, 17, you shouldn't even be thinking about that. You should generally be playing it to be fun. And that's why I changed from playing hockey to try and play for England, even though it wasn't professional. That was my aspiration, that I wanted to play rugby with my mates. And I think going away every other weekend, playing in London Southwest 3, playing local rugby, and then going out with the boys, having a laugh with the rest of the team. Used to play with Sean O'Brien's brother Steve was in our team. Loads of the Jersey boys, some of my best mates, some of my kids' godfathers. We had some great times, and those are the times you look back at and enjoy. And I think that's the mentality I've still tried to maintain whilst I play, that I enjoy it. And that's why I try and keep a smile on my face. Even I'll make mistakes, I'll do bad things on the pitch, I'll fall over, I'll drop a ball, but I'll still try and smile and go, well, I've got another chance to make up for it. And at the end of the day, you try and give your best for the team.
Obviously you have been enjoying your rugby your whole career, but you had some early success as well. And in your first season, you were the highest try scorer for your club, which was pretty awesome. At that kind of point, it had gone so quick. Did you just see the sky's the limit?
If I'm truthfully honest with you, like I said, I still have to try and pinch myself, even now that I have the ability to go out and do what I enjoy. And like I said, from 17, never really having a proper job and being paid to do what I enjoy, it's a massive thing. Like I said, like I had some great early years of records, and 264 games at Bath and scoring 100 tries, being the only person ever to score 100 tries, professional era for them. These are things, but if anybody ever comes to my house, there's nothing up for rugby. There's no shirts, there's no pictures. I don't want to look back until I finish, because I still believe I can give more. I still believe I can be successful, and not until the day where I have to knock on the door and say, sorry, Peter Pan's got to retire now, I've got to grow up, that I'll still be moving forward and trying to improve. If it's not me, I want to try and improve others, and that's my aspiration now. I'm doing some coaching with the Gloucester under 17s and 18s.
Oh, great.
And trying to take the pressure off them, try and get them to enjoy it, change how the pressure can be for them, and try and make them smile, because anything in life, you'll do better when you enjoy it. If you're too tense you make mistakes, and then that pressure builds up. And like I said, I love golf, and I see that in golf where pressure builds up on people and then it affects them, whereas you look at the best golfers, how they can change and adapt in a situation. There's certain people like Tiger Woods in his heyday who have an ability and a skill to be switched on the whole time, but I think those times have evolved for the modern era, and people have to be able to smile and enjoy, speak to their caddy, and even if it's me speaking to another player and laughing on the pitch, because you have to be able to have that switch on, switch off mindset.
In 2011, you were picked to be a part of the England squad at the World Cup, which was, again, a phenomenal achievement in itself. But you're quoted as saying, it was one of the best experiences of my life. Why was that? Like, what is it that distinguishes a Rugby World Cup apart from anything else? Obviously, being picked to play in the England jersey is unreal, but being at a World Cup is something special. Yeah. Just describe some of those emotions.
I think that the whole reason that was such an amazing experience was, I am a kid from Jersey. I had that wave, and I never tried to jump off the wave. I stayed on it, and the level of pride that I gave myself from, like I said, being from Jersey, that opportunity which not a lot of people have or get, that I took it with two hands, and I went there, and I wasn't only playing for England, but I was playing for everybody on Jersey. To be the first person to go from born and bred from Jersey to go to a World Cup, and to do that was not only for me but for my parents' friends, the people who've helped me in all sports, my school teachers, to go, yeah, people can do this now. And since then, you see how Jersey are now pushing in the championship in rugby. They've got a foothold in sport. Their football now playing in the UK sport. It probably wasn't me, but that sort of stuff can help people push forward. I've been off the island for 15, 16 years now, but people will go, well, Matt did it. Well, back in the day, Graham Lasso did it with football. And there's Serena Guthrie, who's the England netballer. She's now done it. So there's an opportunity now. If it's how the 21st century's evolved over the last 15 years, probably. But there's now an opportunity for people to be as good as the English people, but be from Jersey. And that was the sense of pride was the one that got me going through. Mostly a kid from Jersey on the other side of the world in New Zealand, playing in a World Cup was amazing. And I was fortunate enough, I think I was on the bench against Argentina, didn't get on, played against, I can't remember if it was Romania or Georgia. I got rested against, came off the bench against Romania, rested against Georgia, came off the bench against Scotland, played in the quarter-final against France, just had the best time ever. And like I said, you want to be able to win it. That didn't happen, but some of the experiences and the people I met and the life lessons that you want to have in those 5-6 weeks were incredible.
Not from your own perspective, but some might look back on the 2011 Rugby World Cup as maybe not the best experience from an England perspective because of some of the on and off field altercations that happened. What was it about maybe that England setup at that time that led to some of those more fractious encounters? Because if you look at professional sport now at an international level, it'd be difficult to see that happening. Obviously, you have the small examples of Ben Stokes at the nightclub and stuff. But what was it about back then that may have allowed that to happen?
I think when my parents came over to watch, and they said, I'll probably get the numbers wrong, but they said they went on a boat trip and there was 20 journalists, say, on the boat, and I think my parents said there was maybe 13 sports journalists on the plane, and there were 7 gossip journalists away. And my parents said, why are you here? And said, we'll find something. So a lot of the stuff that would have probably gone on happened with every other nationality, but they didn't have these people looking for them. And I think if you look at the way the British sort of newspapers look at sport, it probably was how it got out, because that's what they're looking for. Queenstown, in theory, nothing was wrong. Yeah, boys just went out and had fun because we.
It's Queenstown. I've been to Queenstown. It is a party town.
Yeah, boys went bungee jumping. I rode a motorbike to the top of the Remarkables, but I wasn't around anybody who could take photos of me, which is there. The only other thing was we went to. Mano was young and he jumped off the boat. He probably didn't notice you're not allowed to jump off the boat into the harbour, but they're such minor things. Yeah. Whereas if you look back, Manu probably wouldn't have done it if he knew it was illegal, and the boys probably wouldn't have said jump off. So there's such small things that are blown out of proportion.
That do just get picked up, like you say.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes when journalists have their noses out and sniffing for blood, it's easy to find the smallest of things.
It didn't affect how we played. We still played some good rugby against France. We just let them get too many points in the first half. We beat them in the second half, but obviously not enough. And the only thing that helps you is that France then got to the final. So we lost the quarter-final against the people who got to the final, even though it's not the best. That could have been us, but at least it wasn't somebody who then got absolutely hammered in the semi-final.
For sure. Well, now looking at 2019 World Cup, we have seen the teams come now for the quarter-finals. Who's gone through? We know the draws now. Who do you think is going to win the World Cup?
I've always said my heart, because I'm English, I'll always say England.
Yes,
but my head believes that South Africa have got a good run. I believe, obviously you want to win all your games because it's the strongest way to win it, but for them to lose against New Zealand in the first game, I don't think was a bad thing for them, because they come around the other way and England then would meet New Zealand in the semi-final, which could take a lot out of you, could take 2 or 3 boys out of your squad, whereas, not saying South Africa will, but they've got a far greater squad than they have done in previous years, and I believe that it'll be South Africa versus either England, New Zealand in the final.
Nice.
And then it'll be a tough old bruising encounter.
Yeah, no doubt. So it kind of coming down to the end of this podcast, I ask my guests the same 2 questions at the end every time. The first one being, what piece of advice would you give your younger self looking back, or indeed any young adults now?
If it was myself, I'd probably say my wife would be smarter with money. Even though we get paid well, it's not there just to be chucked around and wasted. I'm better now, I've got kids and stuff like that, but I was fortunate enough that when I first got into professional sport, somebody said, get your house on the housing market. Just first thing, don't buy any cars or any flash, get on the housing market. It's the best thing you'll ever do. That's the one thing I did, but I just wasted a bit of money around that on other stuff which I probably didn't need to, which is, I can look back at it and say, well, I still enjoy. I'm in the position where I don't have to worry about that, but I could have had more if I didn't do that. That's to myself, but to a younger person, enjoy it, enjoy the ride. Make sure your basics are as best as they can be all the time. And if you're not enjoying it, there's no harm in saying do something else. Trying to chase something that, for a lot of people, I've been fortunate. I've been playing rugby since I was 17 professionally. Now I'm 32, so I'm saying 16 years, whereas the life expectancy of rugby players, I think, only 7 or 8 years. So to try and force some enjoyment in that small period, not everybody has the ability to play a long career. So just do something you enjoy. It might even be playing on a Saturday for your local team with your mates. It could be as simple as that, and just don't force it, just enjoy it. And it's such an easy thing to say, but I believe that there's so many people I see 18, 19-year-olds come on and they don't enjoy it, and I'm thinking you could be doing something you could enjoy and still being a good player somewhere else.
For sure. And the final question today is, what does the word headstrong mean to you?
Headstrong to me would be knowing what you want and using the strength that you've got to believe in yourself to go forward. I knew that I was good at sport. I knew I had to commit to it and enjoy it, and when I got given the opportunity, like we've alluded to the whole thing, that I've carried on backing myself, and whenever I've had doubters, that I've been headstrong and I've been back myself through everything. I know people are faster than me, but I try and make my brain move twice as quick as them, so I know exactly what they're going to do. So it doesn't matter how fast their legs go, I'm going to be in the position before them. And every so often somebody will run faster than me, but that's life. You look at running races, apart from Usain Bolt, people win 100 metre race, different winners all the time, because people get a good jump every so often. So, but just sticking with it and being strong and going forward.
Matt, thank you so much for your time. It's been great. Best of luck with this season, and I'll see you soon.
No, cheers, Thank you very much.
I just want to say a huge thank you to Matt Banahan for that fantastic episode. But that is it, I'm afraid. Until next week, where I will have, as you heard there in the interruption, Ben Morgan coming on to have a little chat to me. I hope you enjoyed it. Please do go tell all your family and friends. Anyone else, any rugby lovers, go rate us, go subscribe, and you'll get all the updates. And go check us out on Instagram as well. For now, though, I'm going to hand over to Damien Hopley to tell you a little bit about Restart Rugby.
My name is Damien Hopley, Group Chief Executive of the Rugby Players Association. Restart is the official charity of the RPA, and the charity provides crucial support to current and former professional rugby players suffering from serious injury, illness or hardship. Since 2005, Restart has invested over 1.7 million into player welfare and support by funding medical treatment, rehabilitation or disability support, financial support and emotional support, by providing a 24/7 confidential counselling service. And we're the only body in English rugby that invests in mental health support. 1 in 4 people in the UK will be affected by mental illness in any year. Rugby players are no exception, and often the pressures and strains that act as a catalyst to mental health issues are magnified for professional athletes. Players often find it difficult to cope with the transition out of rugby, and the reality is that over 60% of players reported mental health issues post-retirement, and over 50% of players take 2 years or longer to be in control of their lives post-rugby. In 2008, the Rugby Players Association and Restart launched a 24/7 telephone helpline and counselling service to provide vital mental health support to those players and families that were facing struggles. 42 current and former players accessed the confidential counselling last year. More than 140 players have accessed the counselling service over the past 3 seasons. Every year, Restart spends up to £60,000 on our confidential counselling service to help support our players. Without support from donors and fundraisers, Restart would simply not be able to continue this vital support for our players. Sadly, these mental health issues can lead to devastating consequences. Suicide is the biggest killer of men under 45 in the UK, and rugby players are not immune. It's great to see the players talking more openly about their mental health struggles within rugby and after they finish playing. Thank you for all your support towards Restart. Without people like yourselves, we could not help players and their families in the way that we do. So thank you all very much.